Saratoga High School, once marveled for its athletics, has recently struggled with student participation and funding within the athletic program. And worst of all, this decline seems to have no finish line in sight.
Looking at our numbers, we're down about 130 athletes over the last 3 years. You look at our total number of athletes participating. Some of those are multi-sport athletes, but we're definitely trending down to less athletes than more.
Every year, less and less people try out for the sports team, and it's just kind of embarrassing.
The drop in the desire to play sports at Saratoga is unfortunate considering the health and lifelong benefits sports have on high school students.
The staff and the students just need to learn that sports are just as important as academics, because sports, unlike academics, are a team effort. And through life, you're going to be working with other people and having to create those social skills. And with academics, they're important, and education is obviously important, but you need to learn people skills, and you do that through sports.
Sports really is a microcosm for life. You learn so much more about yourself. I know teachers don't like to hear this, but you learn so much more about who you are as a person, and you find yourself when you're engaged in competition. And you learn so much more about teamwork and leadership and dealing with adversity and failure that you don't really learn in the classroom.
There's kind of a hyper-focus on academics at the school, and parents don't really realize the benefits of both physical and mental for playing sports.
I believe that the perseverance when times are tough, you're losing, you're 1-8, and you got to still go to practice every day. And that grind, that discipline pays off in later in life. So I think that the mental payoff for sports is huge. It's hard to articulate it enough.
Losing these sports will not only take a toll on students, but the coaches will suffer as well.
Well, I've been coaching here for 25 years, and really only 2 years have I had this much difficulty completing the team. We ended up with 10 on the varsity and 11 on JV for a sport that requires 9. So it's a little bit frustrating, and it's kind of unfair in some ways to some of the girls who are injured but are kind of playing through it. So it's pretty tough.
A huge obstacle that the sports program is facing is funding.
3 years ago, we were within $1,000 in the black, so we made all of our budget numbers. Last year, we were about $85,000 in the red, and then this year we've done a much better job with some of our spending and eliminating some things, but we're probably going to end up about $45,000 in the red this year.
Parents used to give required fees of $275. This worked great, and around 98% of all parents paid. However, since the addition to Article 5.5 of the Education Code, the sports program can no longer require fees. The new suggested and encouraged option has become an optional donation of $200, and only 70% of parents pay this. Of course, this means that there's less money to go around for all of the sports.
I think the biggest challenge is that I think we have fewer athletes than we have had in the past, and I think there's been a big decline in the donations that go to the school, that go to actually pay for the coaches and the league fees and all of that. I think there's been a big decline in that over the last few years.
The important thing to remember is the problems in the athletic program aren't permanent and can be fixed. Whether it's athletes returning to play their sports for the next year or students trying sports for the first time, there needs to be an increase in student participation. There also needs to be more fundraising, donations, and support for the athletic program in general. If these changes are made, then sports at Saratoga will go back to being appreciated and accredited like in its glory days. We need to take action before time runs out.